Hey folks, Jim here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of White Dwarf magazine. Now, as per usual, if you like these type of videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop a comment down below. Love hearing back from you guys, and it goes an absolute massive way to help the channel too. Now, this month we're on issue 475 of White Dwarf magazine. The magazine is adorned by a Kharadron Overlord, which are a pretty cool race from the Mortal Realms. And there are some pretty cool bits in here. We don't get any major free gifts, but we do get a pull-out bit, which it gives us a war scroll for the Archanaut Admiral, and we get a couple of cards for Aeronautica Imperialis as well in there. So they'll come in handy, I'm sure, for anybody that's playing with those. But yeah, but without further ado, let's jump into the issue. So, to start off, I'm going to stick with the usual. I enjoy this section quite heavily, which is the contact section, and we have some really cool models as well. So we get Junith Arushia, the Sisters of Battle model up at the top there. We have some pretty cool looking Necrons down here as well, which look really good. A Psychomancer and Royal Warden. We have a really cool looking Claw Lord from the Skaven range, which looks pretty good and is always quite nice, and I do love a bit of Skaven action as well. And we have a very nice Lord Croak just up here on good old from the Seraphon range, the new Seraphon model of Lord Croak as well, which is really good. And we have some really cool Genestein Occults, which look really Mad Max-esque in a lot of ways. So they look like they are really having a rip-roaring time on those motorbikes and that ATV. They look really good. I must admit, I do really like the look of their models, and they look like they're literally lifted from the idea of a Mad Max game, or even the new Necromunda Ash Wastes game that's going to be coming out sometime soon, which looks pretty good and could be quite good fun. On the next page we have some pretty cool Kharadron Overlords, which look really nice as well. I like the idea of having that blue base and then kind of ice crystals up around them as well. We have some really cool elves just at the top here, and we have a really nice looking Wraith Knight as well, which are one of them models where if I had the space for an airbrush, and I had an airbrush, I would probably pick one up, because they just look a little bit funky and you can make some really cool looks out of them as well. So really good there. That is, I really kind of enjoy that one. And then finally on these pages we have some really cool wild beast looking creatures. So we have some pretty cool, we have a really cool kind of Vargulf, which looks, you know, like he's got some tatty wings and looks pretty cool, dark and demonic. We have a really cool looking dark demonic vampire lord, and some undead crows, and it's basically all very heavily vampiristic, which look really good. The use of blacks and kind of light colours makes them stand out quite heavily. Hard to tell what they are sometimes, but really nice. I must admit, I do quite like them. They look pretty damn cool. So yeah, definitely a really nice looking way of painting up your vampires. Moving on to the Age of Sigmar, the Blood Wind Spoil is our Flashpoint Clash. This is for the Realmscapes. So literally going across, we have some of the map as well, including the Skull Spike Mountains in good old the 8 points, which is really cool, and not something that we see a lot of, which is also pretty damn good. We have a pretty kind of some nice artwork for the Heart of Darkness, and we have the Chaos going up against the Orcs just on there as well, which look really good as well. Must admit, the bright yellow armour of Orcs contrasting with the kind of darker red tones of Chaos Warriors looks really cool. We have our landmarks as well, so Forlorn Hope, Blood Lake Basin, Varan Spire, which is, of course, is most known for good old Warcry, War Within the Moor, and the Screaming Coil are all some pretty cool landmarks as well. Then we have our Tome Celestial for the Kharadron Overlords, so giving us a little bit extra bits and pieces that we can use in our flashpoints for good old Age of Sigmar. The Tome Celestial gives us some expanded rules, some updated little bits of rules and lore for things like the Kharadron Overlords in this issue, and many more issues that are before this have given other factions. but they look really, really cool, and it just adds to your game. So if you are a Kharadron Overlord player, looking out for things like this can be very, very handy to have as well in your arsenal, because then you can utilise some of the newer updates as well. So we get some of the newer rules for match play on here, and all your battalions and how to use the escort wings and Iron Sky attack squadrons and much, much more. And then the actual updated Paths to Glory rules as well, that you can utilise as well throughout your Mortal Realms campaign if you are a Kharadron Overlords player. Really, really good stuff. Definitely worth having a read through as well, because there are some updates and little bits and pieces that you can utilise to your advantage, which is always very, very good. Sticking to the Age of Sigmar, we have some updated rules for Warcry and the Oath of Ascension. So how to play the Oath of Ascension as well, including its battle plan of Oath of the Axe. This will help you out if you're playing Warcry and you enjoy your Warcry rules and sets like that. This will give you some extra rules. We also have the Oath of Blood, the Oath of Souls as well listed on here for extra battle plans that you can utilise to your your will, and Oaths Betrayed as well, so you can utilise those in Warcry. Very, very handy to have, very, very handy to do, and for Warcry players I'm sure this is definitely a little bit of a must pick up, because you get them extra battle plans as well to utilise them in scripted play, which is always very, very fun to do. Moving into the 41st millennium, we're continuing on with the Flashpoint Nachmund. So in this section, of course, we're going to get some little updated bits of rules for playing the Nachmund Flashpoint section of your 40k games. We also get some extra bits of lore and information to do with why the Flashpoint Nachmund is actually so important, and some storyline as well to it as well. So you got a bit of narrative to go with all of that, and we also get some pretty cool looking Space Marine chapters as well. So these are the Wardens of Gauntlet. So no matter what, you can utilise some of these however you want if you wish to. So you have some pretty cool looking good old Space Marine chapters mentioned on here. So you things like the Howling Griffins, Space Wolves, Iron Hands, Ultramarines if you want Ultramarines. The good old Black Templars are mentioned as well, and you can have a bit of a closer look at your colour schemes for certain chapters. If you are going for Space Marines, of course, you can utilise this as a very, very handy tool to pick out the chapter you want to paint, which is actually pretty damn handy a lot of the time without having to buy any codexes or anything like that. Can be very, very good. Continuing on with Flashpoint though, of course, you get information about your Puritans and Disciples, the Test of Faith, and we will also have some updated rules and a battle plan as well for the Grand Campaign that you can utilise throughout the entirety of your 40k games. Very, very handy, and not too bad. We also get new rules as well, so for the Servants of the Dark Master. So this is if you're going to do the Disciples of Be'lakor, for instance, can be very, very handy. And we have some Loyalty Part 2, so Part 1 was last month if I remember rightly, and this is all going through all the different story and giving you a bit more narrative towards the Flashpoint Nachmund campaign. As per usual as well with good old White Dwarf magazine, there are some painting tips and tricks in here as well. So for instance, if you want to paint up some renegade vehicles for the Chaos Space Marines for instance, you can by all means. What you can do is you can use a compass to sketch out the semicircle that you are going to be using for some of the good old Chaos symbols, and then you can utilise it to paint up as well with and go over it. You can add some bits of signs of corruption if you wish to, using things like Agrax, Agrelian Earth, or anything like that over there that's going to crackle and split. So you can use that to make it some of the corrupt metal is being corrupted itself. And of course, you can always paint in some bloody handprints if you wanted to, make it look a bit grimy, a little bit dark, and a little bit devious at the same time. So this will add to your chaos hosts if you wish to as well. Then we have some awesome examples of painted up chaos hosts for the 41st millennium. So we have some pretty damn cool looking Castellan robots that are being corrupted to the forces of chaos. The Castellan robots are really, really cool from the Adeptus Mechanicus range, and I really like them. It's like they have been modified and kind of fitted out by some very rogue tech priests and utilised for forces of evil. We have some awesome kind of looking flagellants, some corrupted good old Space Marine infantry and infantry from the Guard as well, from the Imperial Guard, and much more. So we have also a very nice kit bashed Mausoleum Predator, utilising the good old Sigmarite Mausoleum from the Age of Sigmar range, or if you like Old Hammer, the Garden of Moor, and fitted onto a Predator tank as well, which looks nuts, in all honesty. I'm not going to lie to you, it looks pretty bonkers. Pretty cool, but that's what Warhammer's all about. It's all about looking a little bit nutty and a bit bonkers at times. We also have some kit bashed Dark Mechanicum units, which are a mix of good old, from the looks of it, Adeptus Mechanicus and some good old Nighthaunt models, which have been utilised to kit bash together, which look really good. They actually look quite cool, and a bit more funky and a bit more fun. So really good stuff. And then we have some Zechian cultists as well that have been utilised. This is using Corvus Cabal and Genestealer cult weaponry bunged together to make these really cool looking forces of chaos. And they do just stand out. They look quite fun. They look a bit interesting and look very different. And then we have a bit more as well. So we have a very kind of unique looks of different kind of chaos units, because there is a lot of kit bashing involved. So if you are going to go down the 41st Millennium's chaos unit route, you could use this as a bit of inspiration for how you're going to build your army and how you want your army to look. You can use kit bashed bits and pieces because the rules can actually kind of stand to them. You just have to count them as certain other things and utilise the rules for them that way if you want to use them. But really good stuff. I quite like it. The interesting look of a lot of models makes it stand out and makes them look really cool. And finally, inside the studio at the very end of the magazine has the hobby bingo. So here you can see what the White Dwarf team and how they are getting on with their hobby bingo. If you are still doing your hobby bingo, which I must admit I've not updated mine for a long time, you can kind of compare and contrast how you are getting on with your model painting so far this year, and really good stuff. It actually looks really good fun. Next issue will be on sale on the 20th of May. I will be doing a video on it, so if you like these videos, please drop by for that. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.